Today, I'm going to show you how to install a preview LUT on the Zcam E2-S6, the E2-F6, and E2-F8 camera models. I'm also going to explain exactly why you want to use a preview LUT in the first place, as well as tell you exactly which preview LUTs that I recommend you use. Now, before we do that, if you are new to the channel and you are looking for content on the Zcam series, please consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming videos. So with that being said, I want to briefly talk about exactly why you want to use a preview LUT when filming with this camera. Now, if you're shooting with a Zcam, the chances are you are using the Z-Log 2 color profile. Now, for those of you who know about log, you know that it is a very flat and neutral, or gray as some people may call it, image. Now, that is not an accurate representation of what the footage is going to look like once it's color corrected and color graded. I've had clients in the past say, well, why is the footage all gray? Well, they're not seeing the accurate representation of what this footage is going to look like once it's completed. So that is one reason why you'd want to use the LUT. It'll give you an accurate representation of your exposure as well as your color. Now, the LUTs that I do recommend are the LUTs directly from Zcam, and you could find them on their website, z-cam.com, under the support and LUTs section. I'm going to put a link to all the LUTs I mentioned here in the description below. However, the LUTs that I do recommend you use are from Exigent Films. These LUTs were developed by a professional colorist who knows this camera very, very well. And these are the LUTs that I use whenever I'm shooting. In particular, I use the -2 version when I'm shooting 24p or 30p, and then I use the -3 version when I'm shooting slow motion. So those are the LUTs that I do recommend you use. Again, the link to all of them will be down in the description below. Now, the way we're going to install these LUTs is with the CFast card. However, you can also use an SSD. But for those of you who have installed LUTs in the past, you may be used to just putting the LUT, the cube file, the .cube, in the root directory of your CFast card or your media. However, with the Zcam, you cannot do that. There is a very specific way for you to install the LUTs on this camera. Now, here's a little tip on that. What I recommend you do is first put your media in your camera and let it format, and it'll create this directory for you. Now, the directory that you'll be placing the LUTs in, and this is the cube file, it's a .cube. You'll be placing that .cube file, as well as any other LUT you want to load, in the miscellaneous looks preview directory. I'm going to flash it up on the screen here so you guys can see. However, you can also create that directory if you haven't formatted your card. And again, you can use a CFast card. So the way we're going to do that is simply load up your CFast card into the camera. Get in there. And then we're going to boot up the camera. So now that our camera is booted up, we're going to navigate to System. And then we're going to drop down to Load LUT. And then once we are down in Load LUT, we're going to navigate to Import. Now, I already have the LUTs installed on here, so we're going to see them already. However, you're going to simply hit Import, and then the LUTs will load up and they will show up on the CFast card. And then you simply navigate to which LUT you want to install and hit OK. And then your LUT is loaded. Now, one important thing to note here is that once these LUTs are installed, they are actually on the camera. So you could take your CFast card out and format it and do whatever you need to. So they don't have to live on that CFast card. That card doesn't need to be in the camera at all times. So now that we have the LUT loaded up on the card, one thing I recommend you do is to set one of these custom function keys to enable or disable the LUT. So this way, when you are viewing on your monitor, whether your monitor has the LUT installed or not, because not all monitors have the ability to install LUTs, so you can simply toggle it on or off. So this way, if we're using a monitor that does not have the ability to load LUTs on itself, we could simply turn it on. Or if we switch to a monitor like the Adamus Shinobi, which does so happen to install LUTs or accept LUT installation, we simply toggle it off. This way we're not like doubling it up. Now, keep in mind, this does not bake that LUT into your footage. That's great because you don't want that. You want that flat log profile once you begin color grading. So that's it, guys. It's pretty simple and straightforward. There isn't much to it, but again, I do recommend that you download those specific LUTs that I recommended, either the Exigent LUTs or the LUTs provided by Zcam. So there it is, guys. Now you know exactly how to install and use a preview LUT on the Zcam E2-S6, the E2-F6, and the E2-F8 model. If you found this video informative and you learned something from it, please give it a thumbs up and share it on social media. Also, if you have any questions, drop a comment below and I'll do my best to get back to you. But alternatively, you could join the Driven Films Discord channel. You could find a link to the Discord in the description below. Now, last but not least, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to Driven Films so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Until next time, take care.